What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So, if you haven't caught the first two videos of my Reboot, Awakening, and Succession first impressions, I would recommend checking out those first, as in this video, what we're going to be doing is testing the new skills and seeing like what it's all about and how like it'll actually affect in combat, along with like how the range is all different and some basic combos that I can show you guys. So this one will be for Succession, and of course we'll be doing Awakening, just so you guys can get a separate video for whether you play Succession or Awakening. But yeah, a lot of stuff has changed. I'd recommend checking out the previous video. I'll leave it on the screen somewhere, and yeah, check that out first, because I go over basically in detail of all the skills, what changed. We read the patch notes, and this time we'll go over some basic combos that I use in PvP and PvE. So yeah, you can also see the add-ons and all the stuff's there. So with that said, we are in Battle Arena. I'll make sure to get some clips for another video for RBF, and if we have Node Wars anytime soon. I don't think so, because everyone's on holiday. So we decide to hold off on that for a little bit. But if there are any guilds that need mercs for anything, just hit me up on Discord, and you can find that down there. Just hit me up, and if you guys need a merc, I got you. So anyway, with that said, some basic combos that I use. They also changed a few things in terms of like when you fight target dummies. They have like a CC counter that's like a circle above their head. I haven't actually tested it yet, so that's what we're going to be doing today. So, what we're going to look at is the difference in the range circle for Wheel of Fortune, because that one got changed a lot. So now the circle is, instead of it's just a huge ring. So we'll see. Basically, we can hit both of them now. That's pretty sweet. And then that's the CC timer, as you guys can see. So some combos I like to do in 1v1 now that you can have a lingering Q buff. It's just like... And then if they're down, you just... That actually does a lot of damage, even if they're on knockdown. But anyway, a lot of stuff has changed. Gonna test out the Nocturne again. And that like 1.7 you guys saw at the top was the CC counter. So you know how like you can do 2 CCs for a certain period of time. Yeah, that's it. So let's see. Did I have the right? Okay. So this is what we're gonna be testing. The Nocturne with this isn't new. I'm just seeing how like it'll affect everything nowadays. So move back. There's 2 ways. This is only a Succession thing as well. So with Awakening, it doesn't work like this. It's just directionals. But in Succession, you could combo it with different abilities. So it's like that. And you get behind them. Even if they're immune, they're probably already still like bound or knocked down, some sort of CC'd, and then it does a lot of damage. So pretty good. So anyway, basic combos that you should do as Dark Knight, assuming these are 1v1 or small scale, because these are a little bit different if you're doing like sieges and it's like balls versus balls, and then like I don't know, large scale doesn't work the same way. But anyway, in a 1v1, he's facing backwards, which is a little bit different, but that's fine. So what you want to do generally, make sure you want to try to keep this DP buff. You just hold your Q and keep that up as 100% as possible, or as close to that. So let's say you're fighting an enemy, right? You want to get behind him, and then they increase the range of slanted balance, right? So that will knock him down. It'll look like that. And then what you're gonna... You could also do a lot of other... That's your 2 combo, and they're probably still on the ground at that point. And generally, with enough AP, you'll be fine. So Unless it's like super tanky opponents, that is generally a good combo. So what I do, if you want to do a fast 2-step combo, you hit him with the... You're going to start with the Unveiled Dagger first, because you use this to get the attack speed, is what we have. So you start with F. Actually, hold on, let me just... where is it? Let me just turn this on in case it helps anyone. So, mouse function 1, it's your space bar, but I have it rebound. So you want to have that. What we're going to be doing is Unveiled Dagger first, followed by Enforcement, and then we're going to Enforcement, and then we combo it into Determination, and then after that we're Pervasive, and that's what it is. Oh my god, why are there so many people here? Jesus. So, right. Make sure your Q buff is up. As I said, Enforcement. Flow. You can do that. Let me just turn this on as well. The cooldowns. So that's one combo I do. And usually Enforcement does a lot of damage, especially if they're defense down and all that stuff. And then after that, you hit them with the Wheel of Fortune. And by that point, it may not seem like it's a lot, but in a 1v1 situation, you're just hitting them with heavy attacks. So let me break down a few things before we go in. I'll categorize this into light, medium, and heavy attacks. Heavy attacks meaning they're a little bit slower, but they do the most amount of damage, whereas light and mediums are things that are a little faster, and you want to add them into your rotation, into your 2-second CC timer, if that makes sense at all. Like, I know how it works, but explaining it is not easy. So we'll use these as openers, like Slanted Balance, Airstrike, and then those are like light, where your openers and fast attacks, whereas things like Enforcements I would consider as medium damage. Well, actually it does a lot of damage, but it's fast. And then things in the heavy category are Wheel of Fortune, Lunacy of Vidir, Spirit Legacy, and yeah. So one thing you could also start now that we have our flow for the Vidir Strike, what you do is Airstrike opener, and then you DP debuff, and then you could use one of your heavies, and then that'll like hit him into this 2cc limit, and once you hit him with the Wheel of Fortune, he'll be go down again, and then you either have a split second to use your Spirit Legacy or your Nocturne. So, combo 1, we'll do the basic Unveiled Dagger Enforcement Pervasive combo. First, hit him with that, basically at 2, and then that was the Pervasive with the Ravage Rake and Enforcement combo. That does quite a bit of damage. Next thing you could do, Slanted Balance to target till he's floated, go in with your second one, Wheel of Fortune, and then you can Enforcement combo flow him again, and if it's still down in time, really, it just depends on how fast you do it. I was just trying to slow it down, but let me just show you in a faster way. Slanted, that. So by that time, they're just like full CC'd. And if you hit them with generally the heavy attacks, like Lunacy, Wheel of Fortune, or the Spirit Legacy, that will be those abilities that chunk their health. So it's important to at least get one of them in. Whereas you also want to watch their CC timer as well. So, especially if you hit your E buff or your absorption, basically this, where is it? I just saw it. Your Prime Spirit Absorption for Awakening line is your equivalent of Overlord. So your E buff I wish they just kept it one skill that you could use for both of them. Why they made two different ones, who knows. But anyway, so open up with that one. You get your buff going on, slanted. Now they're floated twice, and then you could get off one of your two heavies. It doesn't really matter which one it is. You should probably lock these two, by the way. Neither of them are really that good. You're better off just Z-buffing your way instead of any of these. Like, these just have such long animations. If you're caught like using it and someone just like runs up and grabs you, it's over. So my recommendation is just lock them. So if there are two enemies, now what we could do, like this is like a node war or small scale. If there are two enemies, what you're gonna do is, now that the Wheel of Fortune range is a lot bigger, you can now hit both of them, and then next thing you know, you could hit them with the Lunacy of Adir. So that probably won't kill a more geared player. It will, however, CC you and allow you to prepare for your next ability. So slanted, and then you could also do that. Wheel of Fortune them both, and then they're still in the... That one should be getting up, the first one. You want to make sure to start using your Nocturne a lot as well, because it is something that Succession gets exclusively. Well, you can use Nocturne for both of them. However, the combo is a little bit different. Where is it? So like, yeah, with the Prime one, which is the Succession, when you use it with Lunacy of Adir, Twilight Dash, or the Adir Strike, you can combo in different ways. So let's say we're gonna Twilight Dash into an enemy. That's what it'll look like. I don't know if you guys even saw that. Let me just try that again. 1 second. Forgot what we were doing for a second. All right. We're gonna Twilight Dash into an enemy and then Nocturne it. It happens so fast, but let me just try to slow it down so you guys can see it. Before, you used to have to like turn your camera angle with the airstrike, and now you don't really have to do that. Okay, so Twilight Dash, right click, and then you'll see like a circle and then a slash going down the middle. Yeah, that's the combo. When you Twilight Dash in and you see the ability, that's how you know you did Nocturne flow properly. So, again, basic combos. What do we do? One-on-one situation. Generally, what you want to do in a 1v1, let's say two people are staring at each other, what you're going to want to do is more or less like go around them, slanted, balance, float, and then use your combo on them. And generally, that is good enough depending on who you're fighting. If you're fighting like Strikers and Mystics, they're not dying. It doesn't matter how much gear you have. But yeah, so you can always slanted balance one of them. They increase the range on it. That's good. You still have forward guard, as well as now we have another combo ability with the airstrike and flow. So the reason why you would do this is because you put a debuff on the enemies for 20 DP, 10 seconds. You have a super armor, and it's a down attack. So, assuming like you still have to get behind your enemies. If they're forward guarding, this doesn't really work out as well. I mean, you'll get the debuff, but you won't get like any sort of CCs. So, assuming like the enemy is over here, let's try to get this target. So it's easier to get behind him from here. So you move backwards, airstrike, airstrike again. If you can hit them, I wish I could see. And then you just continue your combo. Make sure to, if you can get 2 heavy skills off, as we talked about before, Lunacy of Adir, Wheel, or Spirit Legacy, as long as you can get 1 off, you're probably good. If you get 2 off, that's even better, depending on the player. But sometimes just assume you can only get 1, try to move back, and reset. So move behind the enemy, airstrike, airstriking, or you could either one works. If you mess it up, like I just did, and you don't get the flow for the Vidir Strike, you'll at least get the Unveiled Dagger, which gives you an attack speed bonus. So worst case scenario, you're getting a buff on you, or your debuff on your enemy. Behind your enemy. And then that actually has a long range, so you might be able to actually hit multiple targets. You can hit up to 10 with the flow, but you don't use it for damage. You use it for the debuff. Let's actually test it for a second. Let's see, how can I hit the target behind there? I don't know if that hit. But I do know now with the Wheel of Fortune, you can hit 2 targets. I wonder if you could hit 3. If I stand, this is a very situational thing. It probably won't happen in a real scenario. But can we hit 3 targets? Oh, that is one thing you cannot do in Awakening. Because they increased the range on Wheel of Fortune in succession only. So that's good, I guess. I did an hour of grinding yesterday at Works, and I don't really know if it like improved PvE. It made it a little bit easier, but in terms of like damage, I got like roughly the same amount of trash as well. So it's not like it really made things damage-wise better. It was just more convenient, I guess, which is what I'm sure is what people want. You can hit them. You can float again. So if you're in a situation against multiple people, just figure out, like, you don't see these timers in real situations, but just so you can have an idea of what you're doing and how these timers and CCs actually work, well, obviously you just read the effect. But yeah, generally in a 1v3, if this is happening like this and you find yourself in this scenario, you're not surviving it. I'm just gonna be honest. Most of the time, one of those 3 people is gonna be a grab class. They're gonna run up to you, grab you, and then the other 2 people are just gonna, like, I don't know, unload skills and you're dead. So, very rare situation. Most likely, if you find yourself in this, it's not happening. You're not going to make clutch plays. But, yeah. Anyway, now that you know how this works, you debuff all that again. It's pretty cool. Alright, so with that said, that's pretty cool. Most of the time, you want your openers to be slanted balance or the airstrike float, and you want to debuff them. Really just depends, and then those are your openers. And then you could either go into enforcement to get your second CC off, and then try to end it with the big heavy attack, which I personally like Wheel of Fortune more. I think Lunacy of Vidir does significantly more damage, or the Spirit Legacy, so I would probably recommend using those over Wheel of Fortune, but it just depends on if it's like a 1v1 or a group situation. Everything else is, I don't even know how to use this, to be honest. Left to F into Chain Dusk. What? Oh wait, is this a confuse your enemies and summon a rose trap? Like, I don't use this ability. What is this? Let me see. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what that did. I saw the effect go off. That's about how much I use this skill. He stuns on hits explodes 15 seconds after summoning. Alright, let's see. Let's try it again with an enemy in range. Didn't even work like that. Is it how you're facing? I have no idea. Alright, so pretty much... Let me try this one more time. Is it how you're facing? No, I guess we are not. But anyway, once again, to summarize, 2 openers now. Slanted or airstrike flow. If it doesn't work, do that. You just have to like really just mash up F over and over. You don't use the quick slot for the flow. You really have to up F it. Sounded weird, but anyway. But one big thing that you have to get used to now is make sure you have your Q buff up, because previously, once you started doing anything and let go of your Q or moved out of this position, your timer would go down. And now you can start using it while still having the buff up. So you have to make sure to try to keep your Q up like every 12 seconds or something within that time. So good to know. 2 enemies and you like surprise them. Probably just go from the side. Generally, you want to be behind your enemies. I guess that goes for every class as well. If you're behind the enemies, like there's a better chance that you do more damage from back attacks. And yeah, there you go. So another thing that people have asked me a lot is, what do I use more with Nocturne or Succession Nocturne comboing? And I honestly use it with Lunacy more than Twilight Dash. I use Twilight Dash mostly to get out of situations. So let's say you're in a 1v1 and then you see more people coming in, right? What you should not do is this. Let's say there's a ball in front of you full of enemies. What you do not do is that you don't Twilight Dash through enemies. You're gonna get grabbed, something's gonna happen, anything that could go wrong will go wrong. But instead is, if you are here and then you see a lot of enemies coming up, you just move backwards. You use Twilight Dash as an escape more than anything. That's the same with Awakening with the Trap of Vadir, and you move it backwards and hope the enemies get caught in it, not trying to lure them into it. So yeah, so I don't really use Twilight Dash to like engage. I use it as an escape. But aside from that, like I use Nocturne combo with Lunacy to get behind the enemy. So then I could use any other ability that you have. Corrupt Ground is still trash. It's just faster now. I don't. They just increased the damage of it. I wish. Or they increased the speed and a little bit of damage. You know what I wish they would add for a Corrupt Ground? To make it better, the speed was a good thing. The damage, who cares? What I wish they would add is like a super armor on this one. Mostly because like you don't use it for the damage. It stuns them, but whatever. By the time you get a chance to use Corrupt Ground, you should already have used that CC with something I just taught you before instead. So don't use Corrupt Ground as a stun. Use a bigger attack that actually does damage to CC them. Especially like don't waste your Slanted Balance or Airstrike, or use those instead of Corrupt Ground, because it'll just like, I don't know, it just feels so bad. The stun doesn't even work half the time. So, yeah, good to know. Just small things I could teach you. Darkness Burst, kind of irrelevant. Everything is kind of good. A few other things I could teach you. So if you're grinding, let's say there are enemies, like this is a PvE thing. So let's say you're trying to group up enemies around you, right? So let's assume these two are running towards you, and while they're running towards you, you see enemies over there, right? So what you do is you're gonna have your Shadow Strike, your Bomb, and your Obsidian Ashes. You're gonna you get that one group over there, and then you could, or actually, wrong button. You pull this one over there, and then by that time, those two enemies that you, or those two packs that you got over there should come to you, while these two enemies, or like the two groups over here. So that's how you like funnel them all into you, and then after they're all grouped up, you just Wheel of Fortune it, just do your big combos. You don't really have to work on anything aside from that. So that is those are basically some combos you learned. There are probably more, but those are just what I use. Openers with your Slanted and Airstrike. Hit Enforcement does a lot of damage. You should make sure to use it along with the Flow. So the Flow and the Prime, it's very important. You should probably max them as soon as possible. I do believe that like Lunacy, Wheel of Fortune, and Spirit Legacy are like higher up on that tier list, but after that, Enforcement is a very good one. You should probably check that out. So yeah, that is pretty much it. One thing you're gonna have to get used to is making sure this is up every 10 seconds, or now that it stays on when you're doing stuff. Make sure you see this buff, make sure it's up 100% of the time. Easy 10 Capris, let's go. Anyway, so yeah, that's some basic combos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Check out or stay tuned for more videos in the future. We'll be doing some RBF. If I could get into some Node Wars, I'll definitely be making some videos of that. But that's just going to be a little bit on when I get those done, because Christmas is tomorrow, which I hope you guys have a happy holidays, by the way. I don't know when we're going to be doing Node Wars next, just because of holidays. So whenever it happens, but at least what I could do is some RBFs and grinding videos to like test it out. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.